ठीक हो गया जी. Your degree is in political science?
Yes, ma'am.
चले जी. Moving on towards your optional subjects. देख लेते हैं. So what was the 26th Amendment?
Ma'am, 26th Amendment is a comprehensive amendment in the Constitution of Pakistan, and it has amended nearly 27 clauses related to the extending the scope of fundamental rights related to the environmental security. Second, there is a concept of separation of power and checks and balances, which is basically adopted in this amendment. The third thing pertaining to the judiciary is that the oversight of elected institution, that is legislature, over an unelected institution, that is judiciary. So as far as the 27 clauses are concerned, we have created 3 new authorities pertaining to the judiciary. The first one was Supreme Judicial Council for checking the misconduct of the judges, and the second is Parliamentary Committee to choose the judges for Supreme Courts and also the Chief Justice of Pakistan, and the third is Supreme Judicial Committee related to the promotion of judges and also relevant work. So though the 2 committees existed before, but we have just changed
How can you ensure separation of power after this constitutional amendment, since executive has been given larger role over the judiciary and the basic principle of separation of power has been violated? So how do you think has this amendment promoted separation of power or protected the rights of the citizens, and how would it prevent tyranny? Would it?
Yes, ma'am, it is very interesting to define it, because as far as the concept of separation of power is concerned, that was given by Montesquieu, that was a political philosopher, and he believes in his book The Spirit of Laws that there is a concept of trias politica. Trias politica means the separation of legislature, executive and judiciary, and there must be not intervention in these functions, but with the concept of checks and balances. So as far as the 26th Amendment is concerned, we have separated judiciary with the executive and also legislature, but we have created a concept of check of legislature and executive over the judiciary, and that is also the concept of supremacy of parliament, and also that is practiced throughout the democratic world, if we cite the example of United Kingdom. So that is the case we tried for the separation of power in it.
What articles deal with fundamental rights of the citizens?
Yes, ma'am, in Pakistan's constitution from Article 8 to 28, these are the fundamental.
What is Article 9?
Ma'am, it is related to the security, the protection of life and property.
9A?
Ma'am, if I'm not wrong, I think it is same.
Okay, what is Article 10A?
Ma'am, Article 10A was included in the 18th Amendment, and that is related to the fair trial we have discussed earlier.
9A is clean and healthy environment.
Sorry, ma'am.
And
though I discussed
climate is one of the major issues in Pakistan right now.
Right.
So how much budget was allocated to the climate adaptation initiatives in this budget?
Ma'am, as far as the because we have allocated budget in 2 segments, that is climate adaptation and mitigation. For adaptation, we have allocated more than 600 billion rupees, but the case is very different. We have allocated to the power sector, that is the different type of adaptation in Pakistan. And for mitigation, we have allocated nearly 87 billion rupees in Pakistan in the recent fiscal budget.
What is carbon levy?
Carbon levy is basically a particular type of tax that is implemented on those who violates the conditions and also create or emit greenhouse gases. So that is just a movement towards the greenhouse, limiting the greenhouse gases and also creating a structure for green mechanism and infrastructure.
How is gender socially constructed?
Because there are particular theories in gender for its social construction. We can see the culture that we generally adopt in our social institutions, like from home to schools, academic institutions. So this gender, there is a particular of gender schema is created. So this schema and these differences in the differences of jobs, academic careers, and everything. So this led towards the gender construction.
How does gender affect employment practices and workplace environment?
Ma'am, I'm sorry, I didn't get your question.
How does gender affect employment practices and workplace environment?
Ma'am, if your question is related to the workplace environment for the gender and how they are affected, because it is also again a gender discrimination or gender stereotypical beliefs that creates a problem for gender at the working environment. However, we are, as far as Pakistan is concerned, we are working more on it. We have created laws for the anti-harassment and the protecting women in the working place. Similarly, these laws are also made in the global and the democratic countries like United States of America. So I think we are improving, and we have already taken steps in this regard.
What is the minimum wage in Pakistan right now?
In the recent budget, the minimum wage is 37,000.
And what was the minimum wage last year?
No, I think it was 32,000, if I'm not wrong.
What is the concept of urbanization and sustainable cities?
These both are though interrelated, but different have different explanation. Urbanization is basically related to the rural-urban shift, and we can say there are particular pull and push factors that led towards this scenario. And if we can explain in more two terms, that is urban growth and urban sprawl, which is connected with urbanization. However, for the sustainable cities, if we curb urbanization and if we lead towards the rural development to limit it for the environmental cause and for the socio-economic conditions, so it leads towards a sustainable development. And if you allow me to explain more the term of sustainable development, that is basically creating better condition for the people who are present here by not compromising the ability of the future generation. So
for example, you have been appointed as the AC of a district. What 5 steps would you take for climate adaptation and mitigation in that particular area?
First, it starts from the awareness, because if we see the literacy rate of Pakistan and the issues we are facing to limit this anthropogenic issues of climate change, so that starts from the from the awareness related to the climate. Second, if I have been given such power, I will try to include this narrative in the media houses and also to the curriculum, particularly relevant to the secondary level. The third one is the steps for the mitigation that is related to the response and also the preparedness for the disasters, because we are more prone towards the emergency policies than the prevention. So we must be prepared for that. The fourth step would be the adaptation through planting trees and creating a green infrastructure. And the fifth one would be the financial role, because Pakistan is short of resources to implement such policies. So I will surely attract the private investors and also the NGOs to cater the needs of public.
What is the current public debt of Pakistan?
It is total, as far as the total debt is concerned, it's nearly 76% of Pakistan's GDP and more than 76 trillion rupees. But it is divided into the domestic loan and also the foreign loan. As far as domestic loan is concerned, it is nearly 28 trillion rupees.
Why is Pakistan's budget referred to as the Green Book?
If the case of current budget is concerned, because we called this budget as a climate, included the climate factor in it, and we have tagged it with the climate. So that is the case. It is named as green budget. However, the reality is that we have not allocated much amount to the climate, especially for the mitigation. So there are the cases, and we are also short of some resources. But as far as the new IMF deal, as IMF going to give us more than 1.3.
What budget model is being followed in Pakistan?
The current budget is a green budget, as we have tagged it with the climate.
No. Basically, what form of budget is being made in Pakistan since years?
If we are
the different kinds of budget, right? There's zero budget, there's performance-based budgeting, the different forms of budgeting. What form of budgeting is being used in Pakistan to make the budget, yearly budget?
I think I will not, because I have no economics as subject, but I can say it is a deficit budget throughout the years.
It's a performance-based budget. The budget is divided into 2 parts. What are those?
Ma'am, it is revenue and expenditure, if I'm not wrong.
Revenue and capital.
Nice. Thank you for
What is the structure of local government in Pakistan?
Because under Article 140A of the Constitution of Pakistan, related to the 18th Amendment, we have devolved and decentralized the subject to the provinces. So after this amendment, we have very different particular structure to all provinces. Some provinces like Sindh and Balochistan follow the model for General Zahulak related to the local government, and as far as the KP is concerned, it is following the General Musharraf's model. So the models are different in provincial level. If you need any further details to the particular to the provinces, so I can give it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir. Soeb, how are you, beta?
Fine, sir.
Fine. Okay. Soeb, your subject is town planning.
Right, sir.
You must have heard the term sustainable cities.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Who coined this term?
Sir, the term was coined by, I think, if I'm not wrong, it was Dr. Mehboob who was from Pakistan and Pakistan's former finance minister also.
Okay. Tell me the names of two sustainable cities in the world.
So the first one is Cologne and the second is Switzerland.
Any city in Singapore?
Yes, sir, Singapore is also, because Singapore as a country and also as a city are also sustainable, included in sustainable criteria that is set.
Define sustainability.
What is?
Define sustainability.
Sir, if you allow me to define with a particular document and I allow to correct me with the word, the origin of word, basically this word was originated in the Brundtland report of 1987, and they believe that sustainability is creating or fulfilling the condition of present generation without compromising the ability of future generation, and that is basically a rule-based.
Isn't it a vague concept?
So I think it is not vague because it is very broader concept. Because if we allow me to explain it with an example, that is, if we have to work for the cleaning and the eradicating pollution, so unsustainable method would be just eliminating this this pollution. Sustainable would be we have to work on the prevention.
Okay, which civilization in the history has ever or adopted the concept of sustainability? Any civilization in the history?
Sir, if you allow me to dive deep into this concept, that started from the Mesopotamian civilization. That was the first civilization.
Sustainable.
Also.
That was sustainable.
Yes, because sir, they created cities, and the concept of sustainability started from there. However, the particular we can say the more practical example was the civilization along the Euphrates River and the Tigris River, and that is also an extension of the Mesopotamian civilization. And as far as our region is concerned, Indus Valley civilization is also famous for that.
Sustainable, it's a sustainable civilization.
Yes, sir, if I'm not
Then
wrong.
why is this civilization facing decline?
Sir, it was something natural cause, and that was related to the some historians believe it was earthquake, and some believe that it was the floods. So I think that was a different cause than the sustainability.
Don't you think so? The floods are an outcome of failure to sustain your environment?
Yes, sir, it is right. But as far as the case of Indus Valley civilization is concerned, because mostly civilizations were there near the rivers, so the floods in the rivers were very natural at that time. So the development and planning of city was something near to the river. That was the case, and there are also some religious explanations to this term as far as the concept of Muslims are concerned. So,
okay, fine. Tell me any Islamic reference which prohibits beggary, as you mentioned that you are already working on that.
So Islam has a particular concept of giving zakat, sadaqah to the people who are in need. So this, if you allow me to think over the particular reference, that is wafi amwalim haqqun lisail wal mahrum. In your property, there is a share for those who are denied good and who are in need.
But any clause that restricts beggary. I am talking about the clause, not about the clause that tells the people to contribute in society. I am talking particularly about this clause that prohibits this.
Sir, I got your question, but I think I'm unable to recall the particular reference.
Okay, fine. Do you know that Quran mentions the word men and women in it? How many times?
Sorry, sir, I don't know the particular number of times the word is used.
Okay, because gender studies is a subject.
I can cite the one reference where this differentiate this difference.
No,
is
I'm not
given.
talking about difference. In Quran, it is specifically mentioned the word men
It is
and women.
in Surah Nisa, I think the first reference I can recall it. It is in Surah Nisa and related to the responsibilities of.
Okay, tell me a number of times. Do you believe that men and women they are described equally?
Yes, sir, they are.
Equal number of times. The numbers are equal.
So the number, no, sir. I think if I'm not wrong, I think the description of men is more than.